Hey guys, welcome to another test. This is a real one in Mill Hill with our learner Leia. This is her first test and I'm glad to say she passed. So we've been following Leia's journey through from lesson 1 or lesson 2 actually. So I'm going to put the link for that playlist so you guys can check it out and watch her journey up until this test. So you can see it's a very bright day. You've got to be really careful in this kind of days because it's really glary, as you can see. You can't really see properly, so much shine. It's not as bad as this as you're driving, it's just because of the camera and the glass. But when you're driving, it's not this bad. But sometimes it can get bad like this, especially if the floor is wet. Okay. You got to be very careful as you position yourself here. You make sure you keep left. Even if you're turning right, you want to keep yourself to the left because a lot of learners make the mistake of going too far to the right. I've mentioned it a few times on some other videos, but it's really important because loads of people fail there for that, and so don't be one of them. And then done a right turn, which is not easy to do there, but she was patient and she's done it really well. Sometimes steering can be a bit hard through that little bit there, so just take your time and don't rush. Going downhill towards zebra crossing. Here you've got to be careful. Sometimes there's people crossing and it's very easy to miss if you are concentrating what's going on far ahead. Going towards the left, the infamous stop sign. Been there a few times with Leia and she's done the right thing, making sure she's come to a full stop, checking the right and then moving on and then checking the zebra crossing. So this zebra crossing can be tricky. I've had a couple of learners fail there and also other people telling me that they fell there as well who are not my learners. So be careful there as well. Sometimes people are jogging there, sometimes people are walking their dogs and they're not really paying attention properly, so just make sure you are looking at that crossing before you try to go past it. And round this bend, you can see signs on the side there for roadworks. So you want to be cautious as you go around here. It could be anything there, but they've asked you to pull over on the left. So she got a couple of faults for pulling over and braking too hard before going to the left. So we'll keep an eye on that, see where it happens. I think the examiner mentioned it and she's done it a couple of times. So let's keep an eye on that, guys, to see where she does that. It wasn't enough to get her a serious fault, but it's definitely something that the examiner mentioned, something for her to be careful about. So when you're pulling in, just make sure you bring your speed down gradually, let people know what you're doing first of all, and don't just brake too hard straight away. Now into the 20 zone, which can seem quite long sometimes, especially when you don't see any other signs apart from the 30 further down there, but I think we're turning left at this one. Still 20 down here as well. No, sorry, this bit here is 30, but you can't really do 20 miles an hour anyway down here. So you can't really do 30 miles an hour here down anyway because it's kind of bendy, it's got parked cars all over the place, and it's not that wide down here as well. Pulling over on the left. See her adjusting herself there. So we worked on this quite a bit on previous lessons because she had an issue with it. Check out the other mock test that she did where she actually failed for this pulling over on the left and then worked on it, and luckily it was enough for her to be able to do it properly so she could pass. But yeah, check out this mock test that we did with Leia and see how she did. remember she was telling me she was hoping for a clear day, or not a clear day, sorry, like a cloudy day, so that it's not so glary, but didn't get that wish. If you got sunglasses, put those on a day like this. It can help a lot in certain situations. The examiner's probably asked it to pull over on the left there, even though it's yellow line. Again, see, she's adjusting herself. I think this is where you start off from like one car length from the car in front. It's called an angled start, just to see how you control the car when you're having to move off near another parked car. So you want to treat it the same as before, look around the roads, and then when you're moving off, you're going to control the clutch really well so you're not going too fast, and then also control your steering well so you don't go too wide or too close to the parked vehicle. See the 20 sign on the floor there, indicating that the road is going into the 20-mile-an-hour road. Down is a very narrow road here. So here you don't go fast through this bit because you can't really see what's coming around the bend. Sometimes cars come flying through here. So just keep looking above the cars for any movement, and then look for any spaces on the left or the right that you could use or they could use should they need to. And a 30-mile-an-hour sign on the left there. So yeah, always look out at the end of the road for any signs for the speed, because that's where they usually change. They can change sometimes in the middle of the road, but usually it's at the end of the road, so check there before you join the new road. So it looks like we're turning left here, sorry, turning right. So you can imagine turning right is a lot harder than turning left, because you've got to do with two sides. You've got to make sure the right is clear and the left is clear as well. So sometimes it can take a while to come out of this junction like this. Don't feel pressure to rush, but Leia's done it really well there, and she's off. Well done. See the sign there for a double roundabout? So sometimes you just get you to turn left at the first roundabout, or sometimes you go right and then left. Let's see which way they go in this one. So you see what she's done there? Well done there for stopping before the crossing, so she's not blocking it. And then once that car's moved forward, check the crossing again and then move to that position. So I guess she's turning right at the first one, the way she's positioned. Yeah, left at this one. Could have been a little bit more left there. It was fine. There's a car behind going around as we pull over, so that's the kind of situation where you don't want to brake too hard before you pull over, because the car behind you or the driver behind you won't know you're going to do that. So that's why you want to be checking the mirrors first before you do anything. Check the mirrors, see who's next to you, who's behind you, your signals, and then pull over safely and gradually. Nice move off there, well done. going towards the infamous apex corner, which is not as hard as a lot of people make out. It's just about taking your time, planning your exit before you get onto the roundabout, and then doing it properly. So we did practice this a couple of times with Leia on the previous lessons. On one time she practiced it, she missed the exit, or she went in the wrong lane and she had to go all the way around again. But let's see how she does on this time. You can see the sign there, 50 miles an hour. So I think we are turning right, third exit here towards Brent Cross. Too bad we can't really see what's going on the right. I guess it was clear because Leia's gone forward without any issue. There was a van in the way a little bit, but that's no problem. She's gone round it now. Into the correct lane, so you could use the next lane on the left as well, but at this point I think it's probably best for this roundabout. It just makes it easier to do. And so last lesson she went on the next lane on the right, but you want to stay in this lane where she is now, and then keeping an eye on the lights. And by this stage she's signaling left, and looking out for the car next to us. See the car that's stopped next to us there on the left lane? So they're coming off the roundabout with us as well, so you want to be looking there, and any cars that are behind him as well, for any, because when you're coming off, the lane's going to go into one. So I'll show you what I mean in a sec. So there's a van behind that car now, so she's moving off now, she's got to start looking at her mirrors, especially the left one. Okay, so the van is kind of hanging back a bit, which is good, and then you can now increase her speed, and then move over to the left when it's safe. So now here, people have failed for just sticking to the right lane without good reason. So when it's clear like this, you want to make sure you check your mirror signal, move over to the left, because remember the right lane is for overtaking or turning right. So if you're not doing any of those things and the left lane is clear, you should move over. So here the examiner will probably tell you to continue following signs for Brent Cross, which will be straight second exit. So I don't think there's a sat-nav on this one. So you're not going to always get sat-nav on your test. Sometimes they will give you directions like this. They will tell you to follow signs, or they might pull you over and explain where they need you to go. And then you can ask if you get lost or if you're not sure where you're going. But they're not always going to use a sat-nav. Definitely do practice using a sat-nav before you come for your test though, because the language that sat-navs use is a bit different from what the examiners use. So it's good to get used to the way the sat-nav talks. He talks about taking the second exit, how many 100 yards or so. So definitely practice before you come for your real test. So in terms of getting on, this roundabout is much easier than the apex corner, especially the route we've just taken now. It's controlled by lights, so it's going to be easy to get on. But if you come in from the right hand side of that roundabout, so you're coming from the third exit and going straight to where that car's going now on the left, that can be a bit tricky sometimes. So definitely take time to practice doing large roundabouts, because they are a bit different from smaller roundabouts in terms of how fast the cars on there actually go. Coming off this exit now, so sticking to the left, checking mirrors and signalling left to come off. And then here's about increasing your speed, because remember it's still 50 miles an hour here, so you don't want to be going too slow here. Watching out for anybody coming out, especially with that petrol station as well. Sometimes people come out of there and come out quite slowly, so once you go past here, definitely put your foot down a bit more, get the speed up if it's nice and clear like it is right now. So if the glare is this bad, remember you can use your visor, just bring your visor down so that you can block some of the sunlight out. you don't want to be blinded as you're driving. You need to be able to see where you're going. But like I was saying before, it's not, so the driver's not seeing it as this, not this bad, it's just because of the camera. So I've already been told now to follow signs for the A1, which will just involve sticking to the left lane, because the A41 is on the other 2 lanes on the right there. See that big sign there with the Y shape? The lane that she is now, you see on the floor there said A1. Okay, she's going towards A41. That was quite late. Normally they'll change, or at least I told her before, but normally change much earlier than that into that middle lane there. Through the lights, and so the left lane now should be branching off towards the left, towards the different dual carriageway, and then this lane now becomes the left lane of the A41. Keeping an eye on those lights, make sure they still stay green, and then carrying on. So here the examiner would have said to us, turn right at the next traffic lights, which is why she's changed into the right lane nice and early. So you don't want to leave this move too late, because it can get tricky to try to go to the right lane when you get too close to the traffic lights. You want to do it nice and early. Once you've heard the instructions from the examiner, check your mirrors and move over to the left lane, and then check your mirrors again and signal move over to the right lane. So do it in 2 steps, don't like swing it to the other lane in one big go, which I learned did in one of the mock tests. I'll put it up in the link now so you guys can check that out. Okay, position yourself into the right lane for turning right now. So if you're at the front of this queue, you've got to be very careful that sometimes the cars that are on the left moving might trigger you into moving as well. So you want to be keeping an eye on your light, because they have different lights. The ones on the left will go in, and then our one was red, and then now our one was green. Turning into this side road, which is 30 miles an hour. Quite a busy road here actually, Aerodrome Road, going towards Hendon Test Centre. So if you're doing a test in Hendon, you're highly likely to come down this road here, whether you're going at the start of your test or at the end of your test. Just going a bit around that van there, maybe she thought it was coming out too much. So Hendon Test Centre is just on the right hand side there on that road. So if you are going to go around vehicles like that, where that lorry was, just make sure you check your mirror first. Check the right mirror and then go around. No need for a signal, just make sure it's safe first and then carry on. Approaching a large roundabout, not as large as ones you've seen before. This one's kind of a medium one, and we're turning right, third exit here. And as you can see, there's no lines to separate the lanes, but you just have to position yourself towards the right because it's quite big enough there for 2 lanes. So it's just a matter of checking the right, making sure it's safe. Then when it is, moving off like this with the right signal on. And then when you get here, go past the second exit and then check your mirrors and signal left, and then start moving over towards the left. She could have been a bit more left there actually. She was a bit too far to the right there. So positioning wasn't excellent. She could have been a bit more left before coming off, because it looked like she was going to go to the other exit. So if there are other cars around, that might mislead them. Going past the RAF Museum on the right there. Again, another sign for roadworks. So when you see this, just be cautious because there could be men working in the road. Or women. There could be people working in the road. You have to be PC nowadays. So not really much going on here, but you still want to be checking your mirrors every now and again just to see who's next to you, who's behind you, how close are they. Have a good picture of what's going on all the time around you. Okay, this car's come out quite wide. Check the right mirror and go around. So you've got to be very careful. If the cars come out too wide, you just have to probably just stop and let them come out. I think that one was in enough for Leia to check a mirror and go around it safely. So I can see there is a car behind, not that close. So if she does get asked to pull over, she's got to be careful how she brakes here as well. Clean the windscreen. I guess she's been asked a show me question, which is when it's safe, show me how you clean the windscreen using the washer and wipers. So there wasn't much going on there, so she could do it nicely. So when you're facing this way, less glare from the sun. It's just a lot nicer, but when you look in the mirror sometimes you might get glare as well. And it might be hard to park if you're facing this way when you're trying to reverse. That's something I forgot to mention actually. So she actually done the bay park at the beginning of the test. She's done it really well. Unfortunately, I didn't have it on my camera. I think I didn't upload it properly actually. It was my fault, sorry guys. But just trust me that she done well on it because she didn't get any faults for it, and she passed the test, so she must have been good. Turning left here, position herself nicely. Now that roundabout she used to have a lot of issues with because she used to approach it really fast and then end up using both lanes to turn left, but this time she's done it really well. Coming to the end of the test, turning right into the test centre, I hope. No, going straight down. Okay, so they want some more from her. I thought that was it. So sometimes you never know, you think, yeah, I'm done, and then they ask you to do more stuff. Turning left at this mini roundabout. Left again. I guess because there wasn't much traffic out there wasn't much going on, so they probably came back really quickly. Examiner's probably just killing a bit of time going around here so that it's not too too quick. Even when I was waiting in the test centre, actually, I thought she came back really quick. So in my head, I thought she had failed. I was thinking, oh no, this is too early. But I guess this is why they came back early, because there was no traffic out there. It was so quiet. But you can see she's been tested properly. They've gone through all different kind of roads, and Leia's done really well on this test. And I was super proud of her, actually. She's put in a lot of work to get to this stage, and it's been a great journey teaching her, actually. Turning left at the end of this road can be a bit tricky. Turning right especially can be tricky, because it's a very busy junction there, and it's on a hill as well. So if you're doing a test in Hendon, sometimes they come this way and then they get you to turn right. But usually when you're doing a test in Mill Hill and it's at the end like this, you're just going to be turning left and then into the test centre, which is probably what Leia's doing now. I'd be very surprised if they turn right. Straight away into that box so they can turn right. Make sure there's nothing coming down the road. Go in there slowly, because sometimes there's cars coming out, examiners walking around, people walking around, so you want to be really careful through this bit. Look, using that mirror on the right there to check anybody coming through. So at the moment it's nice and clear, but cars can pop out of the blue, so you want to just keep an eye on that. And who's that guy on the right? I think it's me. So now it's just a matter of pulling into the right, getting out of the way, finishing. So as an instructor, sometimes this bit can be quite scary, because you're looking at them. This is the time you're looking at them. They're driving, and you can see them going towards this fence here. Sometimes they're not stopping enough, and you're just thinking, stop. But Leia knew what she was doing, so she stopped nicely. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.